It is a long way back to recovery.
Or a long way back
to recording.
To American Brews and Tunes. Well, actually, it's not really a long way back.
It's just right here. Because
right
that's
here.
it. This is American Brews and Tunes.
Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity-beeby-dow!
Wow, I'm recovered. Anyways, thanks again for joining us for a fun episode of American Brews and Tunes.
Yes, thank you, one and all.
Yeah, as you guys know, last week was a one-off episode. We reviewed one of our favorite bands, the Swellers, their album, The Light Under Closed Doors.
Yep.
We're not ready for the next episode, so we're going to do another one-off for you guys.
Yeah, and what's wrong with a one-off episode?
Nothing wrong with the one-off. There's everything right, actually, about it.
Yeah.
We're going to review another one of our favorite artists.
Yeah, you might remember the first episode of the podcast.
If you don't, it's Frank Turner!
Yeah.
English folk punk rock
singer, songwriter. Backed
all-around great guy.
Backed by the band
Englishman.
The Sleeping Souls.
Yeah, we're going to review his album, England Keep My Bones.
Yep.
England Keep My Bones.
On the first episode, it was kind of like a one-off, except it was a lot longer.
Yeah, we didn't know what we were doing either.
Yeah, that was before we had an idea of what the format of this would be.
Yeah, but now that we have a format...
But in that one, we talked about his album, Positive Songs for Negative People.
Yeah, at the time, that was his newest album.
Yes.
He has since released a newer one, but we're going to go back in time a few years.
Back in time. Back in time. Shoo.
Were you doing like a Back to the Future song?
Do
you remember that Back to the Future song by Huey Lewis and the News?
No.
I think it's called Back in Time.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Huey Lewis is great. Tip to be square, if you know what I'm saying.
How does it go? Do you remember?
I don't know. I can only remember The Power of Love.
Let's go back in time. La 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 la.
Hopping in DeLoreans back in time. 87 won't just cut it. 88. I should have written the songs. Forget Huey Lewis.
Yeah.
I could have done the whole soundtrack for that.
Hey, is that Huey Lewis and the News? Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember the movie American Psycho when he's talking about, this is a great song from hit band Huey Lewis and the News?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Oh, man, what a movie.
That's a crazy movie.
Yeah. Anyways, if you guys, just a side note, if you hear some, like, weird buzzing sound, there's somebody doing yard work right outside of my window.
Yeah.
It's some rando. I don't know who it is.
It might not even be picking it up.
Yeah, you guys might not hear it, but if you do, it's probably a lawnmower, maybe a little bit of weed whacking action.
Here, this is what you're probably hearing.
Maybe even a leaf blower. I don't know.
No, I think it's probably a weed whacker.
Yeah, it's probably a weed whacker.
A weed whacker.
Yeah. But we'll come back to the Frank Turner album in just a minute. We thought that since Frank Turner is a English singer, and since this album's called England Keep My Bones, why not have an English beer?
Yes, and so here in America, I don't think there are too many beers that are like brought over from
England?
the English Isles.
Not too terribly many. The one that I always think of is Samuel Smith.
Yes.
They have a fantastic oatmeal stout and some other good brews as well.
Forgot about them, actually.
But they're a great English brewery. I can't think of too terribly many other than that.
So, I mean, probably there are quite a few other very good beers from there, but this is what we could find here in the United States of America.
Yeah, and it's fairly common. You can find this at a lot of places.
Yeah, so what you might be thinking is, well, I'm guessing that it's going to be some type of beer that you could find in a pub.
In a pub, yeah. I imagine, and it's got to be a lager or an ale.
Yeah.
So I just guess it'll be a pub ale.
Yep, exactly. So what we have here is Boddingtons Pub Ale.
Imported from Britain.
If any of you are from Britain, let us know if this is actually a pub ale. Like if you actually just find it.
Yeah, do you go find this everywhere?
Yeah, like is it like your normal lager that you have at like all pubs?
It's kind of like when I think of Australia, I imagine they have Fosters everywhere.
Apparently they don't.
Yeah, I've heard that from Hollywood Babylon. Yeah, some guy's like, that's not a.
It's like, that's not an Australian beer.
Yeah, but this is Boddingtons Pub Ale. I believe it's an English bitter. That's what they call them.
I mean, yeah, this says pale gold ale, but I'm guessing that means it's equated with English bitter. Maybe I'm wrong.
And here it says established in 1778.
Yeah.
Wow, that's almost as old as this here land.
Yeah, this here land.
That's an old brewery. The oldest brewery in the United States, at least the oldest operating, is Yingling.
Yeah.
But
And that's
Prohibition
18.
wiped out a lot of forerunners for that
They
contest.
did.
Yeah.
I just watched something recently about that, and there were a lot of breweries, like a lot of breweries in the United States before Prohibition. But anyway, this beer says it's first brewed at the Strange Ways Brewery in Manchester. Boddingtons has been
England.
renowned as a unique pale gold ale. In English pubs, Boddingtons is served using the traditional hand-pulled method, which mixes air with the ale as it pours, producing a distinctive creamy head and smooth body with little gassiness.
So that makes me think like nitro, and you can feel the widget inside the can.
Yeah, the
For
same
those of
thing
you-
that Guinness
Yeah,
has.
Guinness does it too. It's like a little plastic ping
ball.
pong ball that,
Yeah.
as the beer pours out, it kind of swirls around the ball and aerates it almost. It's
Yeah,
a strange
I
thing. They're
think
trying to imitate the draft system.
Yeah.
So let's crack these cans and pour them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Whoa! Whoa!
Oh, I'm kind of nervous about opening mine now.
Don't get it on my carpet. Wow, that really fizzed up. Whoa. And Jesse Spears everywhere. Hey, whoops.
Oh, it's all over my pants, but
so
that's all right.
I'm going to pour this with great vigor,
Yes.
just like I would pour a Guinness. But not on draft. Apparently, Guinness on draft, you have to pour them very specifically. There's like a way.
Really?
Yeah. And I can see it is like a nitro beer where it is really bubbly and it's settling really nicely. And they weren't lying. It's got a really creamy head on top. It looks delicious. Oops.
Whoops. Yeah, look, part of the head is still coming out. Just bone going blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, this looks like a beer that I would have in a pub. I mean, just based on like the it looks like your stereotypical. If someone's gonna draw a cartoon of a beer,
Yeah, it
this
kinda just
this looks like
that.
it, where it's a golden, like a dark golden colored beer,
Yeah.
like liquid with a big foamy head on top.
Yeah, the head is really interesting because we're used to like there being a lot of like bigger bubbles in the head.
This one's
and
a
this
thicker,
is like
more
a whole
condensed.
bunch of like really small, tiny bubbles
Yeah.
that condense to make like a almost like a whipped cream,
Whipped cream
a
on
whipped
top.
cream
Yeah.
thing.
I don't get too
So-
much smell, just like the sweetness, just a little bit of that sweetness.
Yeah, it smells pretty good.
Yeah, what do you say we give it the old phrase and try it?
Yeah, sounds like a plan, Chan.
Shit. Did you call me Chan?
Yeah.
Why not
I
Stan?
don't know.
Or Man?
I don't know.
Sounds like a plan, Yan.
Sounds like a plan, buddy.
All right. That's a new phrase. Sounds like a plan, Chan.
Anyway.
Shibbity-boo-doo! Ooh, that's nice.
That's really good.
It does remind me of a nitro beer like Guinness, where you don't get the carbonation bubbles as you drink. It's not like that. What would you call that carbonation bubble flavor? Just the experience of drinking a carbonated beverage.
Just carbonated. It's
It
kind
doesn't
of
have
harsher. This is like really, really smooth.
Yeah, it's just like drinking like a normal liquid like water.
Yeah,
but it tastes like
that's a
beer.
good way to say it.
And it's cold and delicious.
Yeah, this actually has a really nice flavor.
Yeah?
It's just like in general, kind of like a more malty sweetness.
Yeah, I'd imagine alcohol-wise, it's a little lower.
It is.
Did you look it up?
I think it's like 4 point something or other, 4.3% or something like that.
When I think of a pub ale, I think of a beer that people are going to be in, like in England, and sitting and watching soccer while drinking this all day,
Yeah,
or cricket.
or cricket. Yeah.
Let's watch cricket with our crumpets.
Oh gosh.
I'm sorry, Gromit.
Sorry, Gromit. Gromit.
Gromit.
Gromit.
What is it? What is it?
Gorgonzola, 4.6%.
Yep, Steve is checking this in on Untapped right now, the best social media beer app ever. If you would like to see what all your buddies are drinking and see what they think about a beer if you're thinking about buying a beer and you're like, I don't know if I want to buy this, it's kind of risky. I've never tried it before. You could look it up on Untapped and see what other people say about it.
Exactly.
How cool is that? I use this every single time whenever I'm looking for a new craft beer to try.
It's a great thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, just side note, it's World Cup right now, so
Yeah.
I'm imagining drinking this in the pub and seeing like somebody score and everyone saying "Goal!" and then cheers.
And, cheers! And then,
Pele!
And then saying like, "Oh, let's chug this beer and get another one, friend."
Pele!
Pele, is that a
He's a
soccer player?
Who's the other? David Beckham! Bend it like Beckham! The Big Green!
The Big Green?
Did you ever see that movie?
Bend it like Becca?
No, Beckham. Bend it like Beckham.
Is that what it's
That's
called?
a soccer movie.
I think isn't it about a girl who's playing soccer?
Yeah. You ever see The Big Green? It's about kids who are playing soccer.
No.
Steve Guttenberg's in it. The Goot.
The Goot.
Yeah, we like the Goot. Great actor.
Okay. I didn't know. I've never heard of that movie, The Big Green. Never heard of it.
I used to watch it growing up as a kid. Like I would watch The
There's a
Sandlot and The
movie?
Big Green all the time.
Oh, so it's
It's
kind
in
of like
that vein.
it's
Kids.
kind of like the Sandlot, but with soccer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did they accidentally kick their ball into Old Man Fuller's backyard?
No, it's more like they are a team of. It's more like Mighty Ducks or the Little Giants, where they're a team of like rejects that no one else
They're
wanted
like,
to pick.
we can do it.
Yeah, and Steve Guttenberg's like, I don't want to coach, but somehow I got sucked into this position.
Oh no! Looks like I might have to learn about
This
myself.
looks like a case
through
for
this.
the Goot. And they do it.
Oh wow!
They do it.
Wow.
Well, shall we delve into Frank Turner?
Yeah. We'll come back to these beers if they change. We'll mention it. If not, we'll talk about them at the end. Anyway,
But your Frank Turner's drank this before.
I would assume so.
You know what's interesting? When I've seen Frank Turner a few times, and normally he'll bring other British acts, or I'll see other British bands playing in the U.S.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of foreign bands will come over and drink Mexican beers. Like I've seen them drinking like Tecates or Dos Equis.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because there's no way for them to get that in England. Perhaps I have no idea.
Could be.
I don't really know, but I've seen a lot of, or even Corona. Like just it's odd. Just my observation. I could be wrong.
Do you think that like if you're in England, you can go to a liquor store or whatever they call them there, and then there's like Budweiser,
I don't know.
like American lagers?
I really don't know. I'm
I
curious.
kind of doubt it because I think they hate American lagers, don't they?
I don't know. Maybe if there's good American lagers, but
True.
they're usually based on European style lagers, the Bavarian lagers. Anyways, Frank Turner, England Keep My Bones. This
Yes.
album came out in 2011, and it's the 4th studio album by Frank Turner.
Oh wow!
He's 4 deep with this album, and he's right on stride. It came out right after Poetry of the Deed.
Poetry of the Deed.
Yeah, and I know I've read a lot of interviews. He wasn't too thrilled with how that album turned out. He likes the songs, but I don't think he's too thrilled with the arrangements and stuff.
Okay.
But I know he was very proud of this album. And it was written with 2 main themes. The first, not that every single song is going to fit into these themes, but the first being mortality, relatable, you know,
Yep.
anybody can relate to that. And the second theme is about being English, like being from England.
Yep.
not,
Hence the title, England Keep My Bones.
Not everyone can relate to that.
Nope, that's
but everyone
very true.
can relate to a hometown, which will come later.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Let's delve into the first track, which is called Eulogy.
Eulogy.
Kind of
what
weird. Your eulogy should come last, right?
What a great song. Oh yeah, I
Technically.
mean,
But that's different.
but you also never write your own eulogy, right?
That's true.
Other people do.
I gave this a rating of 5 out of 5 bones,
Same. 5 out of 5 bones.
but I didn't recommend it or honorably mention it.
You should have done like 5 out of 5 would be like the skull,
Oh, I didn't
and
think
then
that. I didn't
like,
think too much.
and then you
It's
would
the
have
femur
like the
because you
hip,
can't remove
the
it.
hip bones.
It's hard to break.
And then you'd have like ribs or a spinal cord. That would be number 1.
Don't try and break that or bad news bears.
What?
I don't know. Anyways, Eulogy I think is a fantastic opener. all
Not
around.
everyone grows up to be an astronaut.
But yes, it starts
Yeah.
out with those like the violin. No, there's a horn. It's like a French horn or something, right? And it just builds and builds to the end. But the whole last verse is the best.
Yes,
It
it
says-
is. You want to read it?
Yes, I haven't always been a perfect person, and I haven't done what mom and dad had dreamed. But on the day I'll die, I'll say at least I effing tried. That's the only eulogy I'll need. And there you
So,
go. That's
yeah,
the
that's
theme of
the-
mortality. Like I'm gonna die, but
At least
but
I'm trying.
I've got this to say that I've tried. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I don't care if people don't approve or like what I'm doing, but at least I tried.
Yep. That's such a dope line.
Yeah, it is. I've never seen him play
Because
this one live, but I'd
that
love
would
to
be pretty
see him
cool.
live and scream along with him.
That seems like the way that everyone should aspire to live their life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole idea of at least I tried, at least I effing tried, is kind of the idea of not being complacent and not getting comfortable in a certain situation. which is whenever you're comfortable, normally you get complacent and stop learning.
Yeah.
Is normally what
Never
happens.
stop learning. When I worked at the Masonic Village, the retirement home, for all of you who don't know, I used to be a busboy at a Masonic Village for it was like a retired village for Masons, Freemasons, and
so
it was an odd place. I wore a vest and a bow tie, but there was this club that came it was either Monday or Tuesday, and they called themselves it was the LLL, the Lifelong Learners. And I don't think they talked about anything academic. They just drank wine and had community with each other. It was fun.
We're the lifelong
learners. Let's move on to the second track.
Yeah, let's do
This
that.
is called Peggy Sang the Blues. I gave it 5 out of 5 bones. It's my first recommendation.
Star recommended.
It's a great song.
What a great song.
It's a tribute to his late grandma who visits him in a dream in the song and kind of gives him advice.
Yeah.
And the advice is great.
Yes,
it comes
is.
in the chorus, and they change the phrasing a little bit with each chorus, but the whole catch essentially is...
And she said,
doesn't matter where you come from, it matters where you go. No one gets remembered for the things they didn't do.
Yeah, so kind of again the same thing, tying in back to at least I tried.
Do something, take initiative.
Yeah,
Because no one gets remembered for the things they don't do.
yeah.
Obviously.
A thought is really only has worth to you until you
Act upon it.
manifest that thought in whichever
Make it tangible.
in whichever medium you prefer.
Yeah.
So like writing, blogging, songwriting.
So, thematically, message-wise, this song's awesome. But
And it's
musically,
just catchy.
it's really catchy. Do you
Yeah.
remember the bass line that starts out in the first verse?
Yeah.
It's really out there because it goes ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-dum, bum. It doesn't follow the root notes at all. It's off doing its own thing. It's just listen to it again and just pay attention to the bass. It's really cool.
One of my friends, Abby, she said that this song reminds her of like a theme song to a TV show.
I could see this as a theme song to like a 90s after-school TV
Yeah.
show, like Boy Meets World or Full House. I could see
Doesn't
that.
matter where you come from.
Yeah, like
Matters where you go.
showed a montage of a smiling family.
Yeah.
Oh man. But
anyway.
the moment for me in this song is the bridge.
Yeah.
Because there's some type of weird instrument that he's playing on the keys. I don't know what you would call it, but if you listen to the bridge, you can hear it playing in the background. And it's just so delicious sounding.
Yeah, I think of the sound of it is kind of like the Beatles song. Yeah.
What song? It's what Beatles song are you thinking of? Strawberry Fields?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, I think that's what you meant.
It's kind of like that keyboard sound.
Sound. Yeah, great song though.
It really is.
Moving on to track number 3, which is called "I Still Believe."
I still believe.
4.75 out of 5 bones, but I did not recommend it.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't recommend it either, but
I think it's one of his most popular songs.
yeah, I think so.
It's such a really good, catchy song.
I believe at every show that we've been to, he's played this song.
Yeah, it's a staple of the live show.
Yeah.
And it's just a tribute to like the glory of rock and roll.
Yeah, it's just music in general,
Yeah,
but specifically rock and roll.
yeah. He played this at the opening ceremony for the 2012 Olympics.
Yeah,
Which is crazy
yeah,
because that's the Olympics is a world event. They don't just stick anyone up there to perform. So clearly, England was like, "He's the man. We
Yeah.
want him to represent us,
Yeah.
our entire country to the world. He's our ambassador."
and a lot of people gave him crap about that.
Yeah, why
think.
not?
Like, when else are you going to be able to play at the Olympics?
Never. Like,
Yeah, never.
Quite literally, never.
It's sweet.
I'm not going to give him crap. I'm going to give him props. Yeah.
The line that I like in this is, I believe it's in the bridge when he says, "I still believe in the Saints, in Jerry Lee and Johnny and all the greats." I just like that.
The need for drums, guitar, and desperate
Desperate
poetry.
poetry,
I like that
yeah.
one. Great song, though. If you don't believe in rock and roll, then maybe this song will give you a reminder. I don't know.
You're crazy.
Anyways, moving on to the next song.
Yes.
A much more England-centric.
Yes,
centered
this
song.
is where the two themes that Steve had talked about earlier.
They kind of collide.
This is like where.
The song is called Rivers. It's the 4th track, and I gave it 4.75 out of 5.
Yeah, I didn't give any of these ratings because I think they're all pretty dope.
Fair
So,
enough.
I did not recommend this song though.
I think it's really like the guitar parts and the vocal melodies and the other instruments that are kind of like swirling.
Yeah.
Really kind of like even if you didn't know this was called Rivers, it almost sounds river-like. Like if you listen to that guitar part, I can hear it being a river.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure that was intentional. I don't know. Maybe not.
Probably. I mean, I would guess so.
Yeah.
And basically, this song just talks about the history of England.
And there's a lot of rivers in England. Like, literally, there's a lot of rivers.
Rivers flow down to the
Thames.
English Channel.
The Thames.
They all flow into the English Channel into the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, and he talks about how he
not
traces
the
the
Atlantic
rivers
Ocean.
out to the ocean. He says it's a reminder that an island is my home.
Yep.
Yeah.
England! It's a dope song. Great song.
Moving on to the 5th track of the album, which is called I Am Disappeared. I give it 5 out of 5, and I recommend it.
Oh, really?
Yes. I think this song is super catchy, and it's about him and Amy. And I don't know if Amy's a specific person that he dated in real life, but she comes back in other songs, especially in the next album, which is called Tape Deck Heart.
Yeah.
But it seems about like not wanting to be tied down and always being ready to leave when things get tough.
Yeah.
Like, whenever some life weighs however much or whatever.
Yeah.
This theme kind of a little bit. It's not exactly the same, but on the road. Remember the song "The Road"?
Yeah.
It comes back in there, or even on that Wonder Years song, "Passing Through a Screen Door," where he always has a flashlight in the train times in the corner of his bedstand.
Yeah.
So that theme kind of stuck around in there, and you can really get that in the chorus when he says, "I sleep with my passport, one eye on the back door, so I can always run.
Yeah.
I can get up, shower in half an hour, and be gone. And come morning, I'm disappeared.
Yeah.
Just an imprint on the bed sheets."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a that
It
whole
is.
last run of lyrics that he does before the song ends is really kind of powerful. It's just really good.
Yeah. I like how he mentions Bob Dylan in this song too.
A couple times.
In the beginning, he says, "I keep having dreams of pioneers and pirate ships and Bob Dylan."
Yeah, I read an interview once where he's like, "I really did have a dream of Bob Dylan where he picked me up and we drove around."
Really?
That's like remember that Against Me song where he's like, "I dreamed Bob Dylan was a friend of mine."
Yeah.
So funny.
Who wouldn't like to be friends with Bob Dylan?
Let me think. There's probably somebody.
I'm sure someone who's like, "I just can't get over the way his voice sounds."
Why can't we be friends? Great song. And for those of you who if you don't pay attention to Frank Turner, he released an album called Songbook.
Yes.
The Songbook or whatever. And it's got a compilation of greatest hits, but there's a second disc or second vinyl, whatever medium you have, where it's all reworked songs. And this version of this song is almost I don't know if it's hard to compare, but almost better. It's just
Really?
almost more emotional sounding. I hear that weed whacker, which means it's time to move on to the next song, which is track number
just
6.
another fun note about that song before we move on. But through these lyrics is where they got the name for the backing band, the Sleeping Souls.
Yeah, that's true.
And this last one, one of the last lines is, "We are blood cells alive in the bloodstream of the beating heart of the country. We are electric pulses in pathways of the sleeping soul of the country."
And his backing band is called the Sleeping Souls. They've been
Yeah.
a consistent band for him for a long while.
They're great.
They are. Anyways, the next song, track number 6, is called English Curse. I gave it 4.75 out of 5 bones, and it's my honorable mention.
Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah. I really like this song as well.
It's the most different sounding song on the album.
Very much so.
And it sounds like it's a traditional song that's been around for 100 years.
Yeah, it sounds
or more.
like a traditional English folk song.
It's a cappella, and you can imagine like back in the day when like people would sing the traditional songs, they would just like sit in a room and like one person would sing it, everyone would listen. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's a story about like this king who came and took somebody's land and they cursed his family, and it's just the storytelling, and it really sounds traditional.
It really does, yeah.
Until you learn that Frank Turner wrote it and it's brand new.
Yeah.
Which is just like, what? Because for the longest time I was like,
wow.
oh, a traditional song.
It's like, wow, good job, Frank. Like, that sounds pretty good.
That's cool to take a traditional song, Frank.
A good
move.
feat of songwriting.
Yeah,
for
but
a
he
modern
wrote
day.
it, and it legitimately sounds like an old song.
Yeah, very much so.
Great song. Moving on to track number 7, which is called One Foot Before the Other. And this is, I guess, 4 out of 5 bones. And this, in the complete opposite direction of the last song, is also the most different song on the album.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really heavy, and it's definitely out of place. But I like it a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of a rager. It just rocks really hard.
It is, yeah. And this,
I don't really have much more to say other than that.
Yeah. I really like it.
Yeah, I like it too. Moving on to track number 8, which is called If I Ever Stray. I gave it 5 out of 5 bones, and it's my second recommendation.
It's my second recommendation.
Or is this? No, this is my third
That's
recommendation.
your third
I'm sorry.
one. This is my second
I lost track.
recommendation.
This is my third. And this and Peggy Sang the Blues, which was the second track, are probably 2 of my favorite Frank Turner songs of all time.
Yeah.
I think they're just both phenomenal. And this sounds like a drinking song. Like, I can imagine Frank Turner would be holding his Boddingtons Pub Ale while singing this with like all of your buddies in the bar. especially that chorus. It's just like the bum,
Yeah.
dicka bum, dicka bum, like
Yeah.
that. That doesn't do the beat justice at all. It doesn't. Don't base the song on that, you guys. It doesn't sound like that at all. But it's so good.
Take me down to the English Channel, throw me in where the water is shallow, and then drag me on back to shore. Ba-doom, bum, bum,
But
bum.
basically, the theme's like about him like saying, if I ever lose my way or if I ever become like
Yeah, like
for the wrong stuff,
pick me back up.
give me a
and-
reminder where I'm from and
Yeah.
put me back on the path.
Yeah,
Just
great song.
I don't think there's a person in the world who wouldn't like this song or wouldn't dance to it.
If they don't, they be
They-
crazy.
That person that doesn't sing or dance to this song or like it is the same person who doesn't want to be friends with Bob Dylan.
Yeah, good point.
They might exist, but I'd be baffled.
It's like looking for a pink elephant.
Delirium.
Delirium tremens. We found it.
It's fictitious, but it's out there.
It's there.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to
Anyway.
track number 9. Number 9. The song is called Wessex Boy, and I gave it 4.5, or just 4 out of 5 bones. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's a tribute to always having a hometown and feeling like when you go back, you feel like you're at home. And for Frank Turner, this is Wessex, which I don't really
Wessex.
know exactly where that is, but
I don't know where it is in England either, but
his
it's
hometown.
it's a town in England.
yeah. And without him saying Wessex, if you just listen to like the entire song, everybody's got a hometown, and unless your hometown was like the worst place you could ever imagine and you never want to go back, I feel like this is very relatable for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
Like when you go back, you feel home. You
Yeah,
get your friends
when-
and your family.
Like now that I've lived here in Nashville for a couple of years, going back home feels very different than whenever I lived there.
Yeah.
You know, like it feels like you're visiting like a very
Familiar place.
Familiar place, yeah. So I get what he's saying in this song.
There's nice, I don't know if I want to say anthemic part at the end, but a nice sing along. That's a better word.
Yeah.
Where he goes ba da da ba 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 da ba ba. Super catchy.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I don't know if he wrote that specifically for people to sing along. He probably did, because it works.
Oh, I think there's a video, and that's kind of what
Oh yeah.
they do in the
Yeah.
video, right?
Yeah. Moving on to the next song, which is called Nights Become Days. I gave this 4.5 out of 5, and I think this is one of the like 2 slower songs in the album, and it's about time to kind of put that in the track sequence. It's
Yeah.
well timed.
Yeah.
I think it's a really, really good song, and it's about a friend who struggles with drug addiction,
Yeah.
and he kind of likens that to drowning in a river.
Yep.
And
Don't
it's,
sink in the river
yeah,
for your death.
yeah. I just love the line when he says, "Please draw a breath."
Yeah.
Please draw a breath. Where he's
Yeah.
like begging his friend to come
Let's
back
let
to life.
nights become days. So saying that classic metaphor of the it's always darkest before the dawn, right?
Yeah.
And that you just got to make it through the darkness to get to the dawn, to get to the light. It's a really good song.
Powerful sounding.
Yeah, and this I mean the variety in this album really showcases how diverse Frank Turner is in terms of the types of songs he writes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is another good example of that, and so is the next song,
Yeah, the next
which is
song,
my
which
last
is-
recommendation.
I was figuring it's got to be 1 out of 2.
Yeah.
And I figured it'd be this one. Track number 11 is called Redemption. I gave it 4
Yeah.
out of 5 bones. And this is a sad song.
It really is.
Like I said, along with the last one, it's one of the slower songs on the album. And it's all about regret.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly, specifically, I'd say he's referencing a relationship.
Yeah.
But you can take it other ways. But there's just really like sad lines, like when he's like looking in his calendar, he's like, today would have been our anniversary.
Yeah.
And that line comes later in the song, and he actually jumps up an octave in his vocal pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it almost seems like he's urgently like thinking about all these things that aren't happening anymore. And it just kind of breaks my heart a little bit when I hear that verse.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
I really like one of the last verses where he says, "So if each of us is made up of a tally of mistakes and successes, then that hour in that restaurant," obviously referencing a very personal moment, then that hour in that restaurant makes my score less than impressive. But each can be redeemed with the courage with which he confesses. So, darling, I miss you, your music, and your musk, and your kisses. And then he ends with saying, "I don't think I can do this."
I don't think I can do this.
So it's a really, really beautiful song. It's great. I love it.
To kind of jump back earlier to the song, but I really like when he references that Bruce Springsteen line.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about walking, I'm assuming in England, and listening to Bruce Springsteen.
Yep.
And you've got the lyrics in front of you. Why don't you read the line if you can find it?
When Springsteen came clear in my headphones with a pertinent question, "Oh, is love really real?" Love really real? I said rear.
Yeah, I know.
Is love really real? And can any of us hope for redemption?
I don't
or
really know
are we all merely biding our time down to lonely conclusions?
I don't know the Bruce Springsteen song. I should look it up just to
Neither do I, but like that's a really, really powerful line.
And speaking of Bruce Springsteen, sidetrack about the album in general.
Okay.
Frank Turner was talking about like wanting to write an album like for England, and he's like Bruce Springsteen always writes songs about New Jersey. I want to do the same thing, but write songs about England.
Yeah.
So I like that idea.
Yeah.
Because Bruce Springsteen is definitely New Jersey.
Oh yes.
He's a Jersey boy, so
Jersey boy.
So Frank must be a Wessex boy. Classic. All right, moving on to the last song. Unless you have anything else to say.
No, that's it for me.
The last song is called "Glory Hallelujah." This song is conflicting for me. I gave it 3 out of 5.
I really like this song.
It's so catchy.
It is.
But it's an atheist anthem for sure.
Yeah, basically.
There's no question about it.
Yep.
Frank Turner commented on the atheist nature of this closing track, and here's a quote he said about it. He said, "I've played many Christian songs on stage in my time, and I have no issue with that. But one time I was singing 'May the Circle Be Unbroken,' and that's a traditional Christian song, on stage in Atlanta with Chuck Reagan, and it occurred to me that it'd be nice if there was a concomitant," which I don't know what that means.
Concomitant?
Who knows? Concomitant, I don't know if I'm saying that right, atheist song with the same feel to put the other side of the argument.
Huh. Interesting. I get it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it does sound very much like a hymn, like hymnal.
It does. Yeah, there's the church organ playing.
Yeah.
It's sing along. It's really dancey.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely him saying there's no God, so let's celebrate. Like,
yeah.
Literally what he says, essentially.
Yeah.
So I feel, being a Christian, I feel conflicted. I don't sing along with it because I feel weird.
Yeah.
But it's catchy. And on the liner notes of the CD, he writes stuff like there's handwritten things that it's not actually handwritten, it's printed on ink, but you could, like, he probably wrote these in somewhere and then they copied it, but he's like, "Sorry, Mom," about this song. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, and I I have no problem with it at all.
Yeah, you're right, you write what you feel, but it's yeah, I usually skip it when I'm on the CD. But I'm not gonna like knock anyone for listening to it.
No. I would say, man, overall, this is just a fantastic album.
Fantastic album.
Whenever I'm like looking through albums to listen to, like if I'm at work, because I can listen to music while I'm at work. And
this
is
always a good one.
And I'm like, I don't know what I want to listen to. Like, what should I listen to? Blah blah blah. Like everything seems. I don't want to listen to that. I don't want to listen to that. I normally like come across this and I'm like, okay, I'll listen to this again, because it's so dope.
Yeah, this one really doesn't grow old.
No.
And I think it's his best-selling album in England. I don't know. Tape Deck Heart recently, I think, went platinum in England as well.
Yeah. Either way,
great album.
Cheers, Frank, for having just a great album.
Yeah, Frank's he's the man.
He is. He's such a nice dude.
The first time I saw him, he was playing in Nashville, and I went to a local record store called Grimey's. He did an in-store performance, and I met him. And I went up, and I was like, "Frank, I really love everything that you do when Peggy sang the blues. Like the chorus on there really speaks to me." He's like, well, and just a side note, he was playing a full concert later that night at a venue, and just says, "Well, a gentleman never reveals his set list, but I think I'm pretty safe in saying that you'll hear that one tonight." And I was like, "Oh boy, Frank, hug me, brother." No, I actually tried to give him a handshake. He's like, "No handshakes here," and he went in for the hug.
Oh, that's great.
What a good guy.
Yeah,
great album. So, like we said, next week will be the regular format of the episode where I review Twin Fantasy by Car Seat Headrest.
Yep. And
also they're playing Live on the Green this year.
Oh, really?
Jimmy Eat World's playing also.
That'll be dope.
But I'm going to be back in Pittsburgh for the Steelers 5K during Jimmy Eat World.
Oh.
Curses.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go to that. That'd be pretty sweet.
So I'll be listening to that, and you'll be listening to Rockin' the Suburbs by Ben Folds.
Yeah, Rockin' the Suburbs by Ben Folds.
Yeah. So before we sign off, we'll finish our beers. Do you have anything else to say about this beer?
It's kind of stayed the same since the beginning.
I guess
it's really, really nice.
For a pub ale, that's good to stay the same. So if you're in the pub with your mates watching a game of the old footy.
Of the old footy.
Do they call football that?
I believe so, yeah.
Hey, oi, why don't you turn on the telly? There's a footy game. Manchester United's playing Arsenal. I've got me crumpets right over here. Turn it on, please. Let's drink our beers.
I don't think anybody sounds like that.
Come on, turn on the TV. Oi. I got me a Boddingtons Pub Ale and I want some soccer. I mean some football.
What are you trying to do? What are you about trying to do?
I'm trying to do a Dobby accent, but I can't.
Dobby accent.
But I can't. I was trying to say stuff, but everything I try to say is a quote from Harry Potter.
Like,
Master Harry must not go back to Hogwarts. Oh boy, give me some more pub ale. Master Harry shouldn't get the Boddingtons Pub Ale. He should get 2. Master
Boddingtons.
gave Dobby a beer. I'm free.
If only. All right, why don't we end this madness and clink our beers and sign off?
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks everybody for listening.
Yeah,
Cheers.
Thanks. Tune in next week, you guys.
Shibbity-beep-a-dow!
Once again, my name is Steven Johnston.
And my name is Jesse Titus. You know what? I think that we keep forgetting to introduce ourselves at the beginning of the podcast.
Better late than never. You heard it here, you heard it last, I guess.
You heard it here, you heard it last.
Steven Johnson and Jesse Titus. American Brews and Tunes.
Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity-beeby-da.